Today's topic is specific problems in Indian agriculture, their management and planning. A growing global population is driving demand for food upward at a rapid rate of more than 2% per year. Enormous amounts of resources will be required to meet this demand, as agriculture requires more water, land and human labor than any other industry. Meanwhile, 925 million people remain undernourished, as growth in agriculture productivity has not led to greater food accessibility where the need is greatest. Nearly all of the undernourished reside in developing countries, and many of the undernourished are farmers themselves. India is largely an agricultural country. 80% of its vast population live directly or indirectly on income derived from agriculture. But to say that India lives by agriculture does not mean that India is agriculturally advanced. Rather, it is extremely backward in this respect. Its annual yield of crops per acre is unfortunately below what it ought to be. There was a time when small plots of land cultivated by individual farmers who followed age-old methods summed up the position of Indian agricultural system. The employment of scientific technique, especially in America and Russia, has achieved tremendous progress. In the first place, machines have superseded manual labor. That means a larger acreage is brought under cultivation in more efficient manner. Secondly, the fertility of the soil has been increased by scientific, that is chemical manuring. Thirdly, new crops of the better quality and higher yield have been introduced. Fourthly, highly improved methods of irrigation and crop protection and storing have been adopted. Fortunately, India in recent times has brought about a green revolution, resulting not only in self-sufficiency but also surplus production of food. India has now a huge buffer stock of foodstuffs and in a position to export food grains. There are other problems connected with our soil organization. There is the problem of agricultural indebtedness. Let us examine closely the critical causes that are undermining the progress of Indian agriculture and look at plausible corrective measures which can promptly arrest this decline and steer the sector towards sustainable growth. Therefore, in this section, we are discussing the following aspects: problems ailing the growth of Indian agriculture, the green revolution, management and planning, cooperatives, and finally the significance. Coming to problems ailing the growth of Indian agriculture. The major problems confronting Indian agriculture are those of population pressure, small holdings, depleted soils, lack of modern technology and poor facilities for storage. Population pressure. India has a huge population of over 1 billion and it is increasing at a very fast rate. This is likely to increase further in future. This has created great demand for land. Every bit of land has been brought under the plough. Even the hill slopes have been cut into terraces for cultivation. Small and fragmented land holdings. The pressure of increasing population and the practice of dividing land equally among the heirs has caused excessive subdivisions of farm holdings. Consequently, the holdings are small and fragmented. The small size of holdings makes farming activity uneconomical and leads to social tension, violence and discontentment. Inadequate irrigation facility. By and large, the irrigation facilities available in India are far from adequate. So far, half of the total area under food crops have been brought under irrigation, and the remaining half is left to the mercy of monsoons, which are erratic in time and space. Depleted soils. Indian soils have been used for growing crops for thousands of years, which have resulted in the depletion of soil fertility. With deforestation, the source of maintaining natural fertility of soil has been drying out. Lack of material resources and ignorance of scientific knowledge have further depleted the soils of the natural fertility. But earlier, only animal waste was enough to maintain soil fertility. Storage of food grains. Storage of food grains is a big problem. Nearly 10% of our harvest goes waste every year in the absence of proper storage facilities. This colossal wastage can be avoided by developing scientific warehousing facilities. The government has taken several steps to provide storage facilities. Farm implements. Although some mechanization of farming has taken place in some parts of the country, most of the farmers are poor and do not have enough resources to purchase modern farm implements and tools. This hampers the development of agriculture. Low agricultural productivity. Low agricultural productivity is a problem at two levels in India, at the national level and at the level of individual farmers and their families. At national level, India has a population that needs 210 million tons of grain, but India produces only 200 million tons. India has recently put bans on exports of rice, wheat and corn to help ensure domestic food security and stable prices. But this strategy does not resolve the issue that population growth is continuing to outpace growth in agricultural productivity. At the individual level, the extremely small size of Indian land holdings restricts total output. The small size of Indian farm plots may also be a cause for inefficiency. The main reason for the division of India's land into very small plots is historical. Land reforms following India's independence imposed a ceiling on land holdings. Obstacles to domestic sales and exports. Two major obstacles to domestic sales and exports are food safety risks and lack of infrastructure for processing. India's farmers will need to overcome significant regulatory, infrastructural and institutional challenges to meet domestic as well as international requirements. Lack of education and socio-economic backwardness. Illiteracy and general socio-economic backwardness amongst the farmers is detrimental to the growth of this sector. Despite of the microfinance revolution in India, farmers have very little access to credit and capital. Their lack of knowledge about agriculture marketing, inefficient practices in farm management, inability to understand and incorporate new technologies, etc. are all contributing to the decline of this sector. Illiteracy restricts them from doing non-farm activities like starting their independent business away from traditional agriculture. Inadequate infrastructure in rural India. The lack of infrastructure development in this sector, especially in the rural areas, beggars description. Inadequate irrigation facilities, lack of access to technology to improve efficiency in agricultural practices, poor road condition, lesser supply of electricity, etc. are key issues that are holding back the sector. The country spends only 0.3% of its agricultural GDP in research and development. There is no incentivized framework for sustainable water management and irrigation facilities. The farmers solely remain at the mercy of the rain gods for better yield. Coming to the Green Revolution. Plans for the Green Revolution in India began to evolve during the 1940s food crisis that resulted from the worldwide recession and the cause of the partition. This approach was characterized by intensive use of fertilizers, pesticides, year-round irrigation and genetically modified seeds. The Green Revolution promised food abundance and the resolution of India's food crisis. Although the term Green Revolution was applied to many of the large-scale agriculture experiments that took place in developing countries, India's Green Revolution is considered the most successful. However, this perspective fails to account for the Green Revolution's destruction of the environment and the lack of sustainability of its practices and achievements. The cropping pattern of the Green Revolution, based on repeated planting of soil depleted crops like rice and wheat, led to erosion and degradation of land. The influx of genetically modified seeds for monocultures made farmers reliant on agrochemical and seed corporations and destroyed genetic diversity, making crops much more vulnerable to new pests and diseases. The evidently high yielding varieties of seeds required far more inputs than the traditional varieties, and farmers went into debt to buy these seeds and the fertilizers, pesticides and irrigation water to support them. Farmers' illiteracy, poverty, lack of access to finance and lack of instruction in the new farming practices they were expected to implement magnified the negative effects of Green Revolution. Huge overuse of these chemicals heavily polluted land and led to extremely high rates of cancer among Indian farming families, creating additional health problems for farmers to deal with in their poverty. Poor farmers have long had difficulty gaining access to finance, and when money was needed to purchase inputs, many turned to unofficial money lenders who charged high interest rates. Many of these farmers today are extremely deep in debt and sinking deeper, unable to pay off the high interest loans. Many leaders and supporters of Green Revolution touted it as a success. In the past, India has ensured growth by increasing agriculture area and yield, but future growth will need to increase yield with sustainable and improved management of shrinking land and freshwater resources. Meanwhile, the lack of investment in agriculture research and technology development in India over the last 2 decades has slowed the rate at which new ways to increase yield are discovered. The intensive application of chemicals resulted in soil toxicity in much of India, threatening the health of plants, animals and humans. Today, there is a crisis in groundwater due to depletion from heavy irrigation, and farmers are driven further into debt to install increasingly powerful and expensive pumps to utilize this water. Thus, the Green Revolution is a startling example of the way in which science and technology can be applied as a solution to significant problems, but results in many negative consequences. Coming to management and planning. Agriculture is the soul of Indian economy, as 75% of the country's population depends on agriculture or agro industries. Now it has come to light that India's economic growth is not keeping with the expectations because its agricultural growth is lagging behind. In the light of the above cited problems ailing the Indian agriculture, the remedies can quite easily be elucidated from the problems. These are improving irrigation. For progressing on the agriculture front, we have first of all to ensure that all of India is irrigated and none of its area remains rain fed, because chemical fertilizers cannot be of much use in rain fed areas to boost agriculture production. At present, a major part of land in India is rain fed. For quick result to achieve 100% irrigation, we have to build small dams which cost less and yield results quickly. Moreover, we have to implement the interlinking of river project immediately to ensure 100% irrigation to escape the wrath of both floods and drought. Watershed programs too need to be implemented quickly. Multiple cropping. Multiple cropping aims at maximizing production per unit area of land and per unit of time by taking 3 or 4 crops in a year. By adopting multiple cropping, there are two advantages of getting increased returns and economy of the farm resources. Use of high yielding varieties. High yielding variety seeds have absolutely revolutionized Indian agriculture by increasing yield per acre. Among these mentioned may be made a dwarf varieties of wheat PU18, Kalyan Sona 227, Sona Laika, hybrid maize, Vijay, Rice 1 R8, Jonah 351, Padma and Jaya, etc. Plant protection. Considerable efforts have been made to protect the crops from the insects and pests. For this purpose, 14 central plant protection centers have been set up by the government. Scientific methods of cultivation. In the planning period, stress has been laid on the scientific methods of cultivation. It has been emphasized to adopt superior agricultural technology in respect of crop rotation, selection of quality seeds, use of proper manure, treatment of soil, selection of crops, etc. In this regard, government has initiated intensive agriculture area programs. Moreover, several agricultural research centers and universities have also been established. In this regard, Haryana Agriculture University Hisar, Punjab Agriculture University Ludhiana, Himachal Agriculture University Palampur, ICAR Delhi is playing a pioneer role to develop agriculture. Animal husbandry. Animal husbandry has assumed a much broader role in the overall agricultural development. Presently, this sector accounts for 25% of gross value of agricultural output. India's vast livestock population offers tremendous potential for meeting domestic demand for milk, egg, meat, wool, etc. Land reforms. In a bid to increase agriculture productivity, land reforms are of immense use. Since the dawn of independence, Government of India has undertaken several land reform measures. For instance, abolition of zamindari system, fixation of ceiling on land holdings, consolidation of land holdings, cooperative farming, etc. Lesser intervention from the government in both factor and output markets and consistent policy formation by the government, keeping in mind the welfare of the farmers and not at the will of mean political leaders. Easing regulatory norms in domestic agriculture trade. Taking non-evasive actions, designing proper incentivized framework for technology upgradation, water management and irrigation facilities to steer clear of infrastructure issues holding back the sector. Next, coming to cooperatives. Most of the land is in the hands of small and marginal farmers who cannot afford costly inputs for agriculture like fertilizers, better seeds and tractors as well as other machineries and have to depend on credit. They also do not get enough returns for their products because they do not know agriculture marketing. In this regard, we have to treat agriculture as industry and open it to corporate that can afford to buy these costly inputs and can employ the small and marginal farmers as their employees. The other option is that cooperative farming may be introduced and cooperative marketing of agricultural products as well as running of cooperative banks by these farmers be ensured by giving them proper guidance and training. However, at present cooperatives are suffocating under government controls through the various acts etc. passed by it. The cooperatives once formed and those already existing would have to be given a free hand to allow cooperative movement, particularly cooperative farming, which includes running of cooperative agriculture banks and cooperative agriculture marketing to develop. The IFFCO has developed a federation of farmers cooperatives which produces fertilizers for the farmers. Like IFFCO, more cooperatives of farmers need to be formed which can produce fertilizers for them. In other words, let farmers cooperatives be formed who can produce inputs required for agriculture. For this guidance and training would need to be provided to the farmers. Extension services would have to be strengthened and a separate channel each of Doordarshan and All India Radio would need to be set up for the benefit of farmers. If all the above proposals are implemented, it would go a long way in achieving expected economic growth. Coming to significance, Norman Ernest Borlaug, the legendary American agronomist, once commented, man's survival from the time of Adam and Eve until the invention of agriculture must have been precarious because of his inability to ensure his food supply. Men had always fought against nature and all odds to state that one universal need, the need to ensure his food supply and making his family food secured. Procurement of food is one of the bigger challenges that third world countries like India face. This is despite of the fact that India today ranks second in the world in agricultural output. According to the World Bank Standard Index of International Poverty Threshold of $1.25 a day, close to 42% of total Indian population lives below the poverty line. Agriculture in India is the largest economic sector. Farm output in India accounted for 14.6% of the GDP during the fiscal year 2009 and 10. But the country is facing severe shortages in food supply, resulting in continued inflation and increase in food prices. The country's population is growing faster than its ability to produce. The country is riding a wave of a new economic growth story, encouraging entrepreneurship among the farmer community by educating them about farming processes, providing marketing support to sell their yields directly in the market, helping them get access to credit and capital, new technologies, encouraging non-farm activity, serving better amenities like electricity, water and helping skilled farmers get employment in the labor markets, etc. are all immediate measures the government needs to take revive the sector. So, we can summarize, it is necessary to modernize the antiquated outlook of our peasants. This is not to be done by a few touring officers delivering lectures. establishment of Grameen banks and the village panchayats have largely improved the situation. Still, much remains to be done. Large number of trained officers with modern equipments are necessary to ensure a new outlook. All this needs foresighted planning when the ownership of land is restored to the cultivators and the determined efforts are made to modernize their outlooks. Agriculture in India will flourish much more. It is good, therefore, that the abolition of private proprietary rights in the lands is being followed by plans to introduce cooperative farming. It is a good sign that the claims of agriculture have been taken into adequate consideration in our successive 5-year plans. Now, greater emphasis has been placed on the development of agriculture than ever before. Thank you.